Good morning. No public comment. And we might as well jump right into finance action items purchases.
Yeah, the first item there, as part of your materials, is the purchasing agenda. Recommend that this body approve to go to the board on April 20th. The big item there, and I want Ken to speak to it, is contract for management services, warm, safe, and dry. A few other minor things that are on there also. So
the warm, safe, and dry is bid pack 2. We had done one job or one project earlier, and that was the Union High Pool air handler. This is the first big grouping, and we'll have one other that we'll bring to the May Finance Committee. Just a note, the majority of this goes directly to Triangle. The subs were identified in your packet. And then the one contractor, abatement professionals, we will contract directly for those, to that company for the asbestos abatement, to get that done prior. The cost does include Triangle's fee and contingency for this portion of the work.
True. Did anyone else have any questions?
I did not either.
It's pretty extensive. How come we are waiting until the April 20 board meeting? I guess that would otherwise
spring break
be
is the first Monday of spring break. So
Cancel the
Spring
April
break
6th
is
meeting.
April 6th meeting is canceled, and then the work session, you don't feel like it needed to come sooner than that also.
It's up to you, actually. You
Yeah.
can bring it to the work
No.
session.
April 20th, I thought I would just clarify that it seems a long way away, and I understand that the spring break meeting is canceled, but if we needed to bring it forward sooner, that's fine, but,
If it's able to go to the work session, we would appreciate that.
okay. If we're gonna have one.
Well,
Work
that's
session.
the thing. We're not quite sure.
Right, yeah. So I'll just mention that to Dr. Baker. And then the other piece, did you, Mr. Oberst, want to talk about the CPA Services? What?
yeah, we had been a number of years since we had last bid our audit services. We've been with Plant Moran for a long time, and ISD facilitated a bid process for all ISD members. They handled the administrative side of it, if you will, got the bids. I think there were probably 8 other school districts that took advantage of this, and we got proposals from about a half dozen different firms, including the incumbent. And based on information we got from them, price differential, frankly, played a piece in it. Brickley DeLong, who we are recommending, switch to them. They are well-versed in public school districts, do a lot here in West Michigan. I know the folks. Rhonda's acquainted with one of their school district partner. And we felt it was a good opportunity going through this process to make the change, save a few dollars, but it wasn't totally dollar generated. It just, from time to time, it's good to make a change and get different eyes, if you will, on the books and records. The processes that we have and the fact that we save some money too also was significant, and that's the reason we are recommending a change. Brickley DeLong. So.
I knew you had done some research into that, so I
Yeah,
thought we
yeah.
should highlight that a bit. Great. Welcome. Mr. LeGrand, did you have any questions about the purchasing agenda?
No, thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the purchasing agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign? Yeses. All right, reports and updates.
Yeah, just an update on the financial statements through February of this fiscal year and financial dashboard, that summary one-pager as part of your materials. Again, it's February the month, and then year-to-date, things are tracking as expected. The increases we expected were in the salary based on the increases we gave. Other expenditures are in line with what we'd expect, not only for the month of February, but year-to-date. Cash position still solid, and enrollments, I think you heard, I believe, at one of the board meetings, are actually looking great. And so things are tracking well. I mentioned last month that we are deep in the process of our fiscal year, school year 16 budget process. Been going on now for a couple of weeks with budget meetings and moving forward on that, trying to get that wrapped up earlier to get before this body and then again the school board before much earlier than the end of June, as the last couple of years have been delinquent again. So that's going well. We've got some similar things we need to work out here in the next couple of weeks, but we're in good shape there. So.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
In your packet is the One Safe and Dry update. It does include the projects listed on the purchase agenda, but only identifies them as bids. It doesn't identify them as approved yet, but I thought it should be there for your information. Last time we mentioned there were two projects that were still in progress from last year. There's a number of roofs. We've met again with a roofing contractor, and we have a commitment to be done by April 9th. We're still working with the heating controls contractor on City High. There are some issues there that we're still investigating to make sure that functions. That may take a little longer. My concern and what I've shared is I really want it done before the weather turns and we turn the heating system off. Or we may run into it in the fall again, and it just continues. But the bids came in well, except for one. In the purchase agenda, we did not include the Aberdeen restroom. That came in significantly above our budget. And we're still working to look at our options. Was there something in there that caused that? Do we have the ability to rebid it? Should we pull it from this year's grouping and look at it again next year? As it is, it's so far over, we can't justify authorizing that contract as it stands. So that's part of our investigation right now.
Can you give us a little more detail on that? I mean,
We had a budget of $243,000 and it came in at $390,000.
Wow. But you dug into that, and so,
Well, we're trying to see, did something get in the design that we weren't anticipating that caused it? Was it part of just a factor of the trades that would be involved? Costs have gone up. We have two other restroom projects in the next bid package, and that will give us some idea, if they come in high, that it's a factor of trades rather than something specific. If the plumbing and the tile work and the drywall and electrical all come in higher because of the nature of the business right now, we'll have a better feel for that. But it's difficult for me to justify that kind of overage, and at this point, we could do it under contingency, but it would eat up so much of our contingency, I'd be nervous for the rest of the summer.
yeah, no, I'm not suggesting to go forward on it. I'm just, as you say that, I mean, I'm actually pretty much on top of all of those things, and I'm not aware of any shortage of trades guys in the plumbing industry, or like a world shortage in tile or drywall. I mean, things happen sometimes. After Hurricane Katrina, the cost of OSB went up 3 times, but there's no world shortage of tile right now, and there's no world shortage of drywall. Do you have any guesses?
We're meeting with the architect again tomorrow to try and see what we can bring down. It's so far over, it's really hard to come up with one thing, but we're investigating.
They moved all the toilets. Creates a big fight, yeah. You know, you can't move your. Interesting. Good, well, good work, making sure drilling down on the bid to watch costs. Any other questions? Policy action items, we're just have none, and so we reports, sustainability update from Mrs. Trevelyan.
Is it Trevilian or
Trevelyan. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a few initiatives that I wanted to update you all on from my work. The first being the sustainability plan. So working with Ken and others in the district, we've developed an outline or a framework for what that should look like to make sure we're looking at whole school or whole district sustainability, everything from our resource use to our student learning, student wellness, engagement, everything like that. So we've developed that framework that seems to capture all of those factors, and a list of internal district staff who would provide data and information related to those specific areas and how we can get that information. And we'll be moving forward and kicking that off this month in earnest. In addition, working with Greener Grads. They are a local nonprofit that was started about a year ago, and they look at greening graduation ceremonies, specifically the graduation gown purchase and rental piece of that. Most high schools and most graduates purchase their gowns, and then they throw them away afterward. Some people keep them in their basement for 10 years and then throw them away, but the large majority of them are thrown away, and so they're worn once and thrown away. And as you can see, it's very wasteful in terms of the manufacture because they're polyester, but also throwing them in the landfill. And it's a huge expense for our graduates to have to purchase all of that for that one day. And so he's the founder of Greener Grads is a local nonprofit, and he has looked at taking used gowns, having them donated from students who don't want them, and starting to rent them out instead for a much, much lower price. They get cleaned and they get rented back out. And so he's only been doing this for about a year and a half and collecting. So he's been collecting nationwide, developing inventory, sizes, colors, you name it. And so this year, City High graduates are going to be the first ones to rent their gowns, reused gowns. So I think that's really exciting that they're, the first in the nation to be doing that and greening their graduation that way. Yeah. And then we'll look at our other graduates. They've already purchased their gowns, but we're going to give them the option, if they want, to donate their gowns to be reused. Of course, they can take them home if they want, do whatever they want with them, but we're going to give them the option to donate them as well and be part of that effort to avoid sending those to the landfill. So that's...
I was going to think, when you mentioned Greener Grads, I was thinking, wow, I've heard of this. Well, no, and my son's graduating this year, so we just heard about this in terms of messaging.
Yes.
Their counselor or teacher advisor, I guess, has been very proactive about this.
Yeah.
Including announcements and stuff.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Seems to me we could get about 4 steps. This sounds a little bit like the cloth diaper, recycled diaper argument to me, in the sense that if this is a national thing, you're still talking about burning UPS trucks to get these things out to people. You're still talking about cleaning them. It seems to me if we really wanted to be green, we'd do what weddings finally figured out to do, which is just let the guys buy their own suits and the women buy a dress they want to wear, and just have a reasonable dress code and let guys go out in suits, because the world still actually does put men in suits once in a while, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Unfortunately. I think ties are the second worst fashion decision ever invented. All they do is chug up blood supply to your head. I need all my blood in my head that I can get.
I'm not going to comment.
Yeah, well, I'm stupid enough without a tie. But it seems to me that I would like to see our district just frankly eliminate them altogether and go with a suit and dress policy, because that could, we bought my son a suit when he graduated from high school, because then you get out into the world where occasionally you need a suit. And I think that probably we can all survive the trauma of seeing a couple hundred young men in suits instead of in plastic bags, which is what they wear now. I think they're lavender colored plastic bags, but I think it looked fine. Just like
Okay.
weddings, everyone used to wear tuxes, and my son's getting married this summer, and nobody rents tuxes anymore. They all just wear suits, because it makes more sense. And, you know, women always used to have the world's ugliest dresses to be bridesmaids, and people try to avoid that now, because otherwise you throw away a bridesmaid's dress when you're done being a bridesmaid, right? So, that would be the really green solution, it seems to me. But anyway, good, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's great. I'll take that. I made a note of that, and we can look into that for sure. Good
Well, that
explanation.
would be great. It seems to be that the trend, actually, there was encouragement, and I haven't done anything about it, to have a cap and gown for the board members to wear.
I know they talked.
So hopefully then I haven't purchased mine yet, so hopefully we can just do away with that as well this year as a green recommendation. Green board.
Great.
All right, wonderful. Continue, please.
And lastly, I just wanted to update you on looking at our lighting that we have here at energy efficiency. So I've met with staff to figure out what we've already done and what projects seem to be our greatest need. And we have looked at getting pricing proposals just to price out how much it would cost to change out some of our T12s to T8s or T12s to LEDs, which is probably the more likely direction. And so we've gotten one proposal so far. We're looking to get others since it came back a little higher than we expected. And so we're looking to get other proposals as well, just so we have a good idea for how much we need to budget for each project. We're looking at the upfront cost, the payback, as well as any rebates that are available to us in that project. And so we're going to use that to help make some decisions about a specific building that we have and then others throughout the district as well. So we're looking at that.
T12s to what?
To T8s.
Which is just dimmer bulbs?
No, they're just more efficient bulbs, but it's the same type of fixture. But LEDs is probably the more likely candidate. If we would have said this 5 years ago, I would have said we would definitely move to a T8, which is an incremental kind of improved efficiency, because LEDs were just so expensive and they weren't always available for the variety of fixtures that you would have. And so it would be the payback would be so long. But now LEDs have come down in price so much, and they are so much better in terms of efficiency. That is what I would estimate we will 90% likely go to LED, because it's just becoming so cost effective to do so.
It's such a massive shift in efficiency now, and LEDs have now hit. I mean, CFLs did this curve too 20 years ago. They made sense at $25 a bulb, but they wound up eventually costing $1 a bulb. Well, you can now get basically LEDs for $5 a bulb, and it probably save you $5 a piece a year in energy. I mean, it's absurd how it's about a factor. It's a factor of 6 to switch over. So honestly, it seems to me you could do that on the back of an envelope before the end of the meeting. And that was my one question: is why am I still sitting under incandescent lights? I don't think that's something you have to convene a group of NASA scientists to figure out. The math on that's going to be pretty damn clean, unless you pay some lighting company 5 times what you have to pay at Target or Lowe's or Home Depot or Riley's Hardware to get an LED bulb, because you can buy them at Riley's for $5 a piece. Maybe if you go to a big lighting company, they'll upcharge them for you. But I think the school ought to be able to legally go to Riley's, right? There's no legal impediment on that. We don't have to go to lighting companies. Give me
It's
some
our
petty
favorite
cash, I'll go
hardware
do
store.
it. Petty cash, I'll go do it this afternoon.
He'll bring
Everybody
He'll
around.
bring his own ladder.
Great.
Great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Anything else? So we'll expect the budget proposal and probably in the May meeting, and that will be the proposal given the finance or the election early May. Just setting out the timeline. Yes.
If I could, one long-term thing, Matt Hune, who's at Calvin College, they did a year-long study on using vegetable oil as a source for fuel for vehicles, and their long-term conclusion was that it's not a great idea for, say, facility vans. Where it does turn out to be a really good idea is for lawnmowers, because vegetable oil works great when it's warm and you're not cutting lawns in the winter. And we've got cafeterias which I bet produce grease, which means they're producing raw fuel, which at this point we're probably throwing away. And the math on that turned out to work out very well. And there was a proposal to convert the lawn care systems at Calvin College to vegetable oil use. And rather than, and I think that probably could get adapted quite easily. And that's the kind of thing that I could see a bunch of City High kids figuring out how to do if they got a hold of Professor Hune and figured out what the Calvin student research. I taught that class with Matt, so I can get you the data fairly easily. What we need kids who are willing to commit to doing some of the, where would we put our storage facility, how would we collect this stuff? Some of the logistics would have to get tailored to our system, but their research on that was pretty comprehensive and very comprehensive. It was done by a bunch of engineers, so they did all of the meta-analysis on whether or not you should use it in a school bus or a lawnmower, and it turned out lawnmowers were much the best fit, but can save substantial money and gets rid of waste stream. So it's a great way to kill two birds with one stone.
Good
If you own an operation that produces waste vegetable oil, which I bet we do.
Right.
That's just something to think about.
Yeah, great.
Dr. Hune came and did a presentation, and the superintendent has worked with him and talked with him, so you may have heard his name
Yeah.
brought up.
I had the chance to meet with him a few months ago.
Oh,
so,
great. Okay.
Yeah, so I can chat with him about that. Yeah, we talked about the green revolving fund that they have set up over at Calvin.
He actually just came out with a good book on judging the health of the economy, not by the GNP, but by total resource management, which is, of course, a much better way. When you pull coal out of the ground, it's not free. You just depleted a finite resource, right? So he's got a good book that,
Great.
if any of you are interested, you can look it up.
We can share that for Earth Day.
That's right.
Right.
GRPS reads.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else? Well, thank you so much. We'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
8:23.